Welcome, welcome, everyone. Today is library day, so I'm excited to have y'all here. I hope y'all are excited to be here. So come on in, have a seat, and then we'll get started momentarily. Let me grab our book for the day. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Welcome. My name is Mrs. Renner Cruz. I'm happy to have y'all. Hope y'all are as excited as I am. Okay. Today we are going to be talking about our Bluebonnet list and books. Um, this one is from our newest Bluebonnet list, The Girl Who Figured It Out by Minda Dentler, and then pictures by Stephanie Denon. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but Denon. Okay. Um, Um, First of all, let's start by, does anybody know the difference between a biography and an autobiography? Just off the top of your head. Anybody? Yep, yep, yep. Okay. And next question before we get started, and then I'll answer all your questions, I promise, and I'll clarify here in just a minute. Because I have a PowerPoint I want to show everybody. Okay. Um, so what is the difference between a biography and a autobiography? Okay. My next question is, does anybody know about what polio is, or has anybody met anybody, or have any family members that have polio? Anybody? Have you heard of polio? Okay. And I'll also tell y'all here in a minute, but one of our presidents had polio. So, yes, yes, yes. Okay. And then, does anybody know what a triathlon is? Yes, it's a race. Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, does anybody know what a Ironman triathlon is? It's a little bit different. Does anybody know? And I will explain more whenever we get started. Yes, I will explain a little bit more and I'll give you the answers. But I'm just trying to see who all knows, polio, triathlon, Ironman triathlon before we get started. Okay? Awesome. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can everybody see what I see? Hopefully, maybe. Let me get there. This is what I want. Try and move these over so I can get to the places that I want without having to maneuver that around. Right. Okay, let's do it. Oops. Why did it sign me out? Okay, I guess I'll open up it again. All right. Okay, sorry. Let's do it. Yes, this is the book. It is on our Bluebonnet list, and I'm so excited to do this one. This is a good one. It's one of my favorites. Okay, so the difference between our story is an autobiography, which is a special type of autobiography. Okay. So the difference, as some of y'all were saying, between a biography and an autobiography is a biography is a book about the life of a person written by someone else. Okay. So let's say I want to write a book about myself. Okay. But I don't know how to write it. I need help. So I'm going to invite one of y'all to write that book about me. Does that make sense? So somebody else is writing a book about me. Okay. Now, an autobiography is, let's say I want to write a book about myself. I'm going to write the book about myself. That's called an autobiography. Y'all have heard of your autograph? Has anybody heard of that? Autograph, signature, autograph. So, like your own signature. Same thing for autobiography, your own biography. It's written by you, okay? Okay. And this is just some background information on where Minda is from, okay? Just some cool facts about India. Cool fact that shampoo was invented in India. Okay, that's pretty cool. Did not know that. Okay, so I talked about polio earlier. Okay. Polio is a disease caused by a tiny germ called a virus. In the past, polio attacked many children and left them paralyzed or unable to move their muscles. Okay, and you'll see in the book, Minda describes a little bit about polio, kind of how it made her feel, her legs and the tightness in her hips and stuff like that. Okay, and then remember how I said one of our presidents had polio? Okay. Um, polio affected hundreds of thousands of people throughout the world. Polio affected mostly children, but some adults got it as well. Okay, the US President Franklin D. Roosevelt was paralyzed by polio as an adult. Okay, there you go. Okay, just some more information about polio and the vaccine. Today, polio has disappeared from most countries because almost every child is vaccinated. So, once the vaccine, and all the kids got vaccinated, I mean, it's almost gone. Okay, so it's very important to get vaccinated against some of these things. Okay, and then my next question that I asked y'all is if you knew what a triathlon was, okay? And y'all had some great responses, and some of y'all were right too. Yes, it is a race, okay? So triathlon, the prefix tri means three, okay? So a triathlon means three races, okay? And I put some different pictures on here, triplets. It starts with a T-R-I, right? Triplets means three, okay? And then triangle. TRI means three. So, of course, here's three sides to a triangle. Okay. And then there is a tripod. That's the picture in the middle, by the way. If for those who did not know what a tripod is, it means three legs. Okay. It's that black, it kind of holds your camera or whatever you're trying to stay still. That's what that is. And then you have a tricycle, top right-hand corner. For a bike, tricycle, can you see the three wheels? So it's called a tricycle. Okay, and then there's the triceratops, which is the dinosaur. Yes, it has three horns, so tri means three. Okay, okay. And then more information about the triathlon. It is three races in one day. Okay, so usually I'm sorry. Triathlon is you swim for 1.5 kilometers, you're going to bike for 40 kilometers, and then you're going to run for 10 kilometers. Okay. So it's swim, bike, run. Okay. Now, my next question that I asked y'all is, does anybody know what an Ironman triathlon is? Okay. So the difference is that the Ironman triathlon is harder than the regular triathlon, okay? And y'all can see the difference on the screen. This for the triathlon, you're going to swim 1.5 kilometers, but the Ironman triathlon, you're going to swim 3.9, okay? Regular triathlon, you're going to bike for 40 kilometers, and then for the Ironman triathlon, you're going to bike 180 kilometers. And then the run for the regular triathlon is 10 kilometers, and then the run for the Ironman triathlon is 42.2 kilometers. Okay, now that's just some background information, so let's read the story. Okay, The Girl Who Figured It Out by Menda Dentler and pictures by Stephanie Denon. The dedication from Minda is to my mom and dad who taught me to have courage and determination, to my husband and my daughter, my inspiration. And then Stephanie Denon, her dedication is for all the kids who feel like the odd one out. As Dr. Seuss says, why fit in when you were born to stand out? Okay. I was born in a crowded village near Mumbai, India, to a poor but loving single mother. Oh, I forgot to say, as we're reading, okay, pay attention to the illustrations, okay? Because I'm going to ask a question near the end about the illustrations, okay? So as we're reading, please, please, please listen to the words and pay attention to the illustrations, okay? Not long before my first birthday, I became very sick. I couldn't move my legs and my hips had tightened. I was paralyzed. The doctor told my birth mother I had a disease called polio. He told her I would never walk. Without money to care for me, my birth mother brought me to an orphanage to put me up for adoption. She prayed another family could give me a better life. One day, Bruce and Ann Dentler saw my photo and were drawn to my smile. They knew I was meant to be their daughter. Soon after, I flew to Spokane, Washington, and they adopted me. My parents taught me to go after my goals, even if they seemed impossible. You can do it, Minda. My dad would always say, just figure it out. I figured out lots of things that someone like me wasn't expected to. First, I learned how to walk. After many surgeries on my hips and my legs, at 5 years old, I was fitted with leg braces and crutches. Next, I learned how to climb stairs so I could ride the bus with my sister. After that, I learned how to do my chores like my siblings. It wasn't easy. Sometimes I fell. Sometimes I got mad. Who doesn't get mad, right? Sometimes I wanted to give up, but I never did. Afterward, I was stronger. I was smarter. I was more confident. Even though I could do some things like the other kids, not everybody believed in me and left me out. In gym class, I was always picked last or had to sit on the sidelines. Some adults talked over me because they could only see my disability. But being different was hard. There were kids who didn't want to be my friend because my skin is brown or because my crutches and leg braces scared them. The Tin Man, they called me, but I didn't let those people stop me. I wanted to show everyone what I could do. I learned how to play the piano and perform for crowds. I worked hard and made the honor roll every year. I backpacked through Europe all by myself. I even interned at the White House. After college graduation, I got a job in New York City and got married. I had done so much, but something was still missing. I was tired of sitting on the sidelines. I wanted to be an athlete. Then one day, everything changed. In New York City, I joined a running club for people with disabilities. On my first day, I was loaned a hand cycle. Once my feet were set on the foot pedals and the foot plates, I cranked the gears and was off. Whoosh, 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 click. Woohoo! I yelled, zooming through Central Park. I loved cycling, but just like when I learned to walk, I had to practice. I made lots of mistakes. I took turns too fast. I tipped over. I got stuck up. Got stuck going up a hill. None of it stopped me. Afterwards, I was stronger. I was smarter. I was more confident. A fire had been lit inside, and I began competing in races like the New York City Marathon. I felt unstoppable. I was ready to do a triathlon. There was just one problem. I was afraid of the ocean because I did not know how to swim. Then I remembered Dad's words. You can do it, Minda. Just figure it out. I stopped worrying and asked a coach to teach me. At first, I struggled to breathe and turn my hips, so I focused on swimming one stroke at a time. 1, 2, 3, breathe. 1, 2, 3, breathe. Afterward, I was stronger. I was smarter. I was more confident. I could ride my hand cycle for the bike race, but I needed a racing wheelchair for the run. I had never used one before. The bucket seat was uncomfortable and it was hard to break. Yet I practiced anyway, pushing the wheelchair up and down the hills of Central Park. Push, push, roll. That summer, I crossed the finish line of the New York City Triathlon, excited for my next challenge. I decided to compete in the Ironman Triathlon in Kona, Hawaii. No female wheelchair athlete had ever finished the course. Could I swim, bike, and run 140.6 miles? Many people didn't think so, but that only made me want to do it more. You can do it, Minda, Dad said. Just figure it out. I got back to work and trained harder. Over the next 5 years, I completed 10 triathlons all over the world. Afterward, I was stronger. I was smarter. I was more confident. Finally, it was time to compete in my first Ironman World Championship. When the day of the race arrived, my stomach fluttered with excitement. But from the moment the cannon sounded, all my plans fell apart. I panicked, swimming in the ocean. My goggles slipped off. I couldn't keep up with the others. On the hand cycle, my muscles burned and my throat grew dry. I wasn't moving fast enough. I was not going to make the time limit. Beep, beep. As I reached the top of the 15-mile hill, I was pulled off the course for being too slow. My race was over. I had failed. Maybe I can't do it. Maybe it is too hard, I cried. I thought about quitting triathlon forever. But my friends and family would not let me. Just figure it out, Minda, Dad said. You always do. For the next 9 months, I swam, biked, and ran more than ever before. I worked with a team of coaches. I ate healthy foods, I lifted weights, and I went to bed early. Most of all, I believed in myself. By the day of the race, I was stronger, I was smarter, I was more confident, and I was ready. On October 12th, 2013, I treaded water waiting for the race to start, along with 2,000 other triathletes. My heart thudded in my chest, and my stomach was in tangles, but I couldn't wait to swim. With a bang, the cannon went off and I burst through the waves. The Pacific Ocean stretched ahead, but like always, I focused on swimming one stroke at a time. One, two, three, breathe. Then I was onto the bike ride through the scorching hot lava fields. Cyclists whizzed by, but on my hand cycle, I could go fast like them. Whoosh, whoosh, click. After hours of riding, my stomach was in knots and my arms ached. Every bump in the road hurt. I checked the clock and shook my head. There were too many miles to go and not enough time. I wasn't going to make it. Again. I can do it, I yelled. I just need to figure it out. I gritted my teeth and cranked the hand cycle up the last hill. Minda Dentler has made the bike time limit, the announcer shouted as I rode into the transition with 3 minutes to spare. Whew. At last, I had reached the final part of the race, a marathon. I shuffled from my racing wheelchair and was off. Push, push, roll. Push, 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 roll. When I reached Pellini Drive, my stomach dropped at the sight of the steep half-mile hill. You can do it, Minda, I whispered. Just figure it out. I gripped the wheels tight and zigzagged up the hill until I reached the top. Exhausted, I pressed on for the final stretch. I was almost there. Just a few more pushes and Minda Dentler, you are an Iron Man, the announcer shouted as I crossed the finish line. I did it. A paralyzed, orphaned little girl from India became the first female wheelchair athlete to compete in the Ironman World Championship. I'm so proud of you, Minda, Dad said. You never gave up on your goals. Thanks, Dad. Figured it out. Okay. And this is just some information about Minda. Here's some pictures, her and her husband and her child. And then here she is with her foster family and foster siblings. Okay. Some information about polio, information about the Ironman World Championship. Here's her hand cycle, and then here's her hand cycle, and then here's her racing wheelchair. There are two different things. Okay. So, what, after reading the book, listening to the book, what are some things that you learned about triathlon, polio? What did you learn about Minda? What are some things that you didn't know before? Yeah. And I'm going to tell you this too, something that I learned after reading the story. I did not know what a hand cycle was or a wheelchair. I didn't know that there was a difference, or I thought they were the same thing, and they look similar, but just on the wheelchair it shows that she's sitting upright versus in the hand cycle it looks like she's laying down. Okay. I did not know there was a difference before reading this story and reading this information at the back of the book about her and her races. So that was really interesting for me to learn. So a hand cycle is a bicycle that is powered by the arms rather than legs. Yeah, and that's the hand cycle. And then the racing wheelchair is a racing wheelchair. It is very different from an everyday one and is specifically designed to go fast. So I guess there's, yeah, it both the hand cycle and the racing wheelchair both have three wheels versus a regular wheelchair has two. So the racing wheelchair has three. So that's an addition to the wheelchair, I guess, to help it go fast. Okay. So remember I told you I was going to ask you this question, okay? Um, what did you notice about the illustrations? Just anybody raise your hand and then speak out. Okay? Yes, all good. All good. I really liked how colorful the illustrations were. So much color. I really liked that the illustrations reflected the words. It just helped you picture the story, the and picture the words with the illustrations and the story, and you can see, Minda growing up, a little, a little baby, right, to a little girl, meeting her parents, learning to crawl. Well, with polio, her version of crawl, to get from point A to point B. I like that it shows here she's doing the chores. And so that makes me think, how does a girl with polio do chores? Like, what? So the illustrations helped answer that question for me. Okay. That's what I really appreciated about the illustrations. They were great. Okay. What else can I ask you? Oh, do you think this book should be on the Bluebonnet list? It is okay to say yes. It is okay to say no. It is okay to say eh. It's okay to say, I'm not sure, Mrs. Renner Cruz. I'm not sure. Okay. I think this is a wonderful story and book to have on the Bluebonnet list. It's so inspirational and it's so encouraging to kids. You can reach your goal. You can do it. You can do it. Okay. Um, so this is called an autobiography. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of things. Okay, this is our middle school library catalog. So what I want us to do, okay, and you can come down here too. Let's say you want to look up Rosa Parks, okay, title. I'm what I'm demonstrating to y'all right now is how to use online services and resources. Okay. Because at some point in your future, you're going to be asked to do a biography, autobiography, you're going to do a research project on history, something in your class where you're going to be asked to research. Okay. So, what I'm showing you now are some ways that you can find the book or resources for that class project. Okay. So, I'm at the home. Y'all can see me. I'm at the home. Okay. You're going to go to catalog and I'm going to show you how to find a physical book. Okay. Let's say you're doing Rosa Parks. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Okay. And then I'm going to click on subject. Let's just do that. Okay. And then there's up here, it's going to show five. Okay. There are five books with the topic of Rosa Parks. Okay. Now, this one is a biography. Yes. That's what we're looking for. For this class assignment, I want y'all looking for biographies. Okay. So there's one right there. Rosa Parks. We got two right there. Ba-bam. And then also, I think Rosa Parks is in here too. Freedom Heroes. Okay. Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth, um, Katie Stanton, Jane Addams. Okay. Alice Paul, Rosa Parks. So Rosa Parks is in this book called Freedom Heroines. And I'm sure she's got a chapter or two or a section of the book about her. That is a great one to use as well. Okay. Now let's go back. What's another one that y'all want to look up? Try me. Um, uh, what's another one? I don't know if I spelled her name right. Uh, let's do. Ah, hey, Simone Biles. Isn't she a gymnast? Right? Okay, we have a biography about her too. So she is an athlete. Awesome. Then let's do that biography about her. And I'm just giving you examples. You don't have to, you know, do Rosa Parks or Simone Biles. Okay, these are just examples. Okay. Now let's hop over to where? Click, click. Oh, reload. Okay. Now this is the Abilene Public Library. So in the case that, your school might not have the resources that you need, the biography that you need, you can use the Abilene Public Library. Okay. We're going to go to Library Catalog. You're going to go to Subject, and we're going to type in biography. Oops, got my B. Okay. Search. Now, a ton is going to pop up. What is that? 51,000. Yay! That's a lot. We're going to do Abilene Public Library, Maine, Abilene Public Library South, Abilene Public Library Mockingbird. We're going to click include. That should narrow down our, okay. Oh, wait, it increased it. Okay, let's do books. We're going to do that. We just want books. Okay, down to 5,000. It's going to bring it down a little bit more. Good. 3,000 down to 3,000. We're going to do biographies, autobiography. Click. Are y'all watching and paying attention what I'm doing, or are y'all chit-chatting there in the back? Yeah, guys, I'm going to have y'all do an assignment here in a minute. Okay, so y'all need to make sure your eyes are on the screen, please. Gonna click here. I'm just narrowing down my search. We start off at 5,000 or 8,000. Now we're down to 625. Okay. Slowly narrowing it down. Let's do 2010. Were y'all alive in 2010? I don't know when y'all's birth dates are. Were y'all even born in 2010? Okay. Now we're up to 583. Way better. It's not as big as 8,000. We slowly narrowed it down to the things that we're looking for. We're looking for books in English, by the Abilene Public Library, Maine, South, and Mockingbird. Okay, those are the three branches that we have here in Abilene. And we want books, biographies, and we don't want old, outdated books. So we're just going to choose books that are 2010 to 2025, okay? And then look at all our options that we can choose from, okay? Prince, the Egyptian gods. So we're looking for biographies, okay? 50 women every Christian should know. Ian McKellen, wasn't he in the Wolverine series? What is that? X-Men. Okay. Oh, she was on a TV show. Some Amy Roloff. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. But yeah, she was on a TV show. Oh, I guess it's checking to see if I'm human. I don't know, am I? Please verify for me, computer. Make sure I'm human. Pretty please. Okay, wonderful. Okay, Einstein, Steph Curry. I know some of you guys love, sports, basketball. There's one on Steph Curry. Okay. Olivia Newton-John. Do y'all even know who Olivia Newton-John is? Or am I too old? Or y'all too young? I don't even know if y'all know who Olivia Newton-John is. She's great. She's wonderful. Okay, Egyptian gods or kings, not gods. Egyptian kings. There's Tiger, golf, professional golf player, Johnny Cash. Hopefully you'll know who Johnny Cash. If you don't know who Johnny Cash, then we can't be friends. If you don't know who Johnny Cash is. Isn't he a comedian? Cal Penn? Cal Penn. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right. Anyways, so I have demonstrated to you how to use these resources. Okay, now I'm going to ask a question. So I've asked you a couple questions. We've gone over the book. We've gone over some ways to use these resources that I have provided for you through either the Abilene Public Library or your Man Middle School um, library catalog. Now I want to kind of wrap it up, and then I will tell you your assignment here in a minute. Okay. I want you to discuss and reflect on individual obstacles and how one can overcome them. Okay. How did the main character overcome her obstacles? Okay. What are some obstacles that you might face in life? What are some obstacles that you might face in your life? And how do you think you will overcome them? Okay. I want you to turn to your partner and talk about it. And ask me questions, please. I think this book is so important because it reflects on everyday struggles and it really encourages everybody to keep striving for your goals. Minda didn't just sign up for a triathlon and be successful. She practiced for 5 years. Triathlon. And then she decided she wanted to do the Ironman triathlon. And do you know what? She did it the first time and she failed. Okay. What did she do? Did she give up or did she go back and train harder? Okay. She went back and trained harder. Okay. She hired a coach, ate right, got plenty of sleep. She came back the second time. She barely made the time limit by 3 minutes on one of the races, and she kept going. Okay, she told herself, "I can do this. I can do this." Now, there's a little excerpt at the very back of the book. I really appreciate this, and this is just so well said. In addition to being a mom, athlete, and activist, Minda is a motivational speaker who shares her story with Fortune 500 companies, nonprofits, and universities, urging listeners to find their own Ironman. So, what does that mean? Find your own Ironman. What does that mean? Does she actually mean go out and compete in an Ironman triathlon? No. She means find your own goals Set your own goals and get after it and go for it and keep working toward it. Don't give up. If you fail, get right back up and keep going. Okay? That's what she means. Find your own Ironman. Okay, now here's your assignment. What you're going to do is you're going to use the Abilene Public Library or the Man Middle School Library catalog, and I want you to find a book, a biography. You can use both Public Library and Man Middle School Library catalog, okay? And once you find that book, come show me. Just you have your computers in front of your desk. Show me. Raise your hand. I'll come to you and we'll have a quick chit chat, okay? This we're practicing using our resources, okay? Well, I hope you all had a wonderful time today reading about Minda Dentler because I had fun sharing with y'all about Minda Dentler and her triathlon Ironman triathlon experience.